In this video, I break down Social Security survivor benefits for those unfamiliar with how they work. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
A few days ago, one of our viewers, Angela L., asked me urgently to post a video on Social Security survivor benefits. She had recently lost her husband and just needed to know what her options were. Normally I follow a video release schedule, but I moved a few things around so that I could get this out ASAP. Angela, I heard you loud and clear, and this video will give you a solid start. Please make sure you chat with the Social Security Administration and other trained professionals before you make any decisions. All right, let's get into it. But before we do, please make sure you click subscribe and notifications. There's a lot going on with Social Security, and I want to make sure that you're alerted the next time I post a video on this subject or a related subject. I post about twice a week. The name Social Security implies that there's a system in place to help those that don't have the ability to earn still be able to sustain themselves. Nothing would be more representative of that than a spouse whose partner has just passed. Their world has just changed and they're uncertain about what the challenges are that lie ahead. Many times they aren't the financial breadwinner of the family, and to make matters worse, oftentimes their partner was the one who handles the money. So they don't know what they don't know, but now they need to learn very fast. The survivor benefit is one of the best ways to dull the financial pain of losing a partner, and in my personal opinion, one of the best offerings of the SSA. This video breaks down the survivor benefit into two parts. Part one is how to qualify, and part two looks at how much the survivor receives based on a couple of different factors. Let's start off with how to qualify for survivor benefits. The Social Security Administration and countless politicians have made, in their infinite wisdom, qualifying for survivor benefits pretty easy. If you were married for 9 months or longer, you qualify for survivor benefits as long as you were still married when your partner departed. The 9-month rule is waived if the survivor is a parent of a joint child, either natural or adopted, or if the death was the result of an accident. If you meet those requirements, you're good to go. The next question is, how much does the survivor actually receive? This is where it gets a little more complicated. First, it's important to note that the surviving spouse gets the higher of their own benefit or the survivor benefit, but not both. Let's begin by talking about the primary insured and their Social Security benefit. When the primary earner, the primary insured, passes, one of two things has happened. They've either filed for Social Security benefits or they have not. Let's start off with what happens if they've not yet filed. This often happens when the deceased was not of filing age, meaning less than 62 years old, or they were of filing age but they were waiting because they wanted to get a higher benefit. In either case, the rights of the survivor are the same. They get the deceased's full retirement age benefit, adjusted for their current age. This is where everybody gets confused, so I'm going to use an example and make this really obvious. Let's assume that the deceased was 63 and his or her spouse was 33. It happens. At age 33, the surviving partner couldn't draw on survivor benefits simply because their partner had passed. If they actually could, they would be getting retirement benefits for 60 or 70 years in many cases. Because of this, there's a second calculation that needs to be done, and this is a calculation that haircuts the full retirement age benefit based on the age of the surviving spouse. By the way, if you like this video, please make sure that you hit the like button. YouTube uses the thumbs up as its algorithm to drive a video in the search results higher, and I want to help as many people as I can. Now back to the video. Now let's change the facts a bit and say that the deceased was 63, but the spouse is 59. As you can see from the chart, the spouse would have to wait at least a year because you can't claim survivor benefits until you're 60, with the exception of those that are disabled. You can claim survivor benefits at age 50 in that case. This is the survivor multiplier chart that we're going to be using. I will also put the chart in the description below so you don't have to start and stop the video. If the survivor filed for survivor benefits at age 60, they would receive 71.5% of the deceased's full retirement age benefits, even though the deceased passed at age 63. If the full retirement age benefit of the deceased was $2,100 and the surviving spouse filed at age 60, they would get 71.5% of $2,100, which is $1,502. If the survivor was age 65, they'd get 91.86% of the full retirement age benefit, or $1,929.06. And if the surviving spouse was full retirement age themselves, they'd receive 100% of the FRA, which is $2,100. So the math is simple. It's just the percentage haircut based on the age of the surviving spouse multiplied times 100% of the deceased's full retirement age benefit. But what if the deceased was receiving Social Security benefits, but they waited until full retirement age before they applied for those benefits? It's exactly the same. It's a percentage schedule based on the age of the surviving spouse times 100% of the FRA benefit. Also, really important, the surviving spouse cannot get more than 100% of the deceased's full retirement age benefit, so there's no need to wait past full retirement age. In the example we're using here, that's age 67, because waiting does not equal more after age 67. And the last example, what if the deceased filed for Social Security before full retirement age? In the first example, there was no telling when the deceased was going to file for Social Security, so the SSA gave them the benefit of the doubt and they benchmarked the survivor benefit based on the deceased's full retirement age benefit. In the second example, the deceased actually filed for Social Security at full retirement age, so there was no question what the benchmark was. In this next example, let's assume that the deceased drew Social Security at age 63 and passed away at age 66, so he or she drew Social Security for 3 years, which meant that they had received 75% of their full retirement age benefit. If the full retirement age benefit was $2,100, the deceased was receiving $1,575. Since the deceased crystallized the payment at 75% of FRA, does that mean that the surviving spouse haircuts off of that number?
No, fortunately not. There's something called a widow's limit, which provides the survivor with the larger of 82.5% of the FRA payment, or 100% of the actual payment itself.
And this is a really important distinction. If you look at this chart,
about midway through age 62, it makes no sense for the survivor to wait any longer to file for survivor benefits because the survivor will not get a dime more by waiting.
So in this example, you would never wait. You would file at 62.5 because you're just leaving money on the table by waiting. Your payment won't go up anymore. If you like this video and you want to see more of me, please make sure you click subscribe and notifications. I post about 2 or 3 times a week. Also, check out this video on the average net worth of a 62-year-old. It's one of my more popular videos. You're going to be surprised at the numbers that you see. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.